Welcome to this Cambridge IGCSE Algebra tutorial. In this tutorial, the presenter will look at some of the tools that you need to completely master IG Algebra. The questions in this tutorial are based on 20 past exams.
So here we are adding x to itself 4 times. So we have a total number then of 4 x's. So x plus x plus x plus x will give us 4x. The first thing to note about this expression is that it can also be written as follows: minus y plus negative y plus negative y plus negative y. Remember that brackets mean multiplication, so a plus times a minus will give us a minus again. So this expression is identical to the original. So from this we can see that we're actually adding negative y to itself 4 times. So we have a total of 4 negative y's. And our answer then will be negative 4y. So here the x's are like terms and the y's are like terms. So these two are like terms and in the y's are like terms. Remember that we can only add or subtract like terms. So we can start with the x's. Negative x plus x. These x's will cancel. So these will cancel. The one is negative and the other one is positive. Then positive y minus y, they will also cancel. A plus and a minus will cancel. And our answer here will be 0. Here the m's are like terms, so we can add or subtract them. And then the n's are like terms, so we can add or subtract them. Let's start with the m's. So m plus m is 2m. Now we're adding a negative n to another negative n. So we have 2 negative n's. So it's negative 2n. The p's are like terms, so we can add or subtract them. And of course the q's are like terms. So the q's. Now what's important to note here is that there's a 1 here that we don't write in front of the p, as well as in front of the q. Let's first work with the p's. We have negative 3p minus p, or minus 1p. So what is negative 3 minus 1? Of course it's negative 4. So negative 3p minus 1p will be negative 4p. Then we have negative 2q plus 1q. What is negative 2 plus 1? The answer of course is negative 1. So negative 2q plus 1q will be negative q. So negative 1q or just negative q. Here the AB's are like terms since they are the same letters, and the CD's are like terms for the same reason. Let's start with the AB's. So we have AB plus AB, which is twice AB, or 2AB. Then we have negative CD minus CD. Now remember there's a 1 here that we don't write. So what is negative 1 minus 1? Of course it's negative 2. So negative 1 CD minus negative 1 CD will give us negative 2 CD. The x's squared y are like terms because we have the same letters with the same powers. Then the xy squareds are like terms for the same reason. So let's start with the x's squared y. We have 3x squared y minus 5x squared y. Now, what is 3 minus 5? Of course, it's negative 2. So 3x squared y minus 5x squared y is negative 2x squared y. Let's look at the xy squareds. We have negative 4xy squared plus xy squared. Once again, there's a 1 here that we don't write. Now, what is negative 4 plus 1? So negative 4 plus 1, of course, is negative 3. So negative 4xy squared plus 1xy squared will be negative 3xy squared. Here 3x squared and 4x squared are like terms because they have the same letter with the same power. Then also 2x and x are like terms for the same reason. They have the same letter with the same power. And then of course 1 and 2 are like terms. They don't have any x in them, so they are called constants. So we can add like terms. So we have 3x squared minus 4x squared. Now, what is 3 minus 4? Of course, it's negative 1. So 3x squared minus 4x squared is negative 1x squared, which we can write as negative x squared. Then we have negative 2x minus x. There's a 1 here that we don't write. And what is negative 2 minus 1? Negative 2 minus 1, of course, is negative 3. So negative 2x minus 1x is negative 3x. Then we have 1 minus 2, which of course is negative 1. 2a squared and 5a squared are like terms because they have the same letter and the same power. Then of course 3ab and 9ab are like terms. They also have the same letters and the same power. Then negative 1 and 4 will be like terms. They are both constants. So let's add the like terms. We have 2a squared plus 5a squared, of course, is 7a squared. Then we have 3ab minus 9ab. Now, what is positive 3 minus 9? Or just 3 minus 9? Of course, this is negative 6. So 3ab minus 9ab is negative 6ab. Then negative 1 plus 4, of course, is positive 3. In question 2, it says, evaluate the expressions below. So these expressions, if a is 2, b is 3, c is negative 4, and d is negative 1. So we are told that a is 2, b is 3, c is negative 4, and d is negative 1. So d is negative 1. So in 2.1, we have bc, which means b times c. So we plug in the value of b, which is 3, as well as the value of c, which is negative 4. And we know that 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, because a positive times a negative is a negative. Then in 2.2, we have CD, or C times D. The value of C is negative 4, so we multiply that by the value of D, which is negative 1. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So the answer here will be positive 4. Here we have negative 3BC. So it's negative 3 times B times C. We can plug in the value of B, which is 3, as well as the value of C, which is negative 4. Now, a negative times a negative is a positive. So our answer will be positive. Then 3 times 3 is 9, times 4 is 36. So positive 36. Here we have 2CD, or 2 times C times D. We can plug in the values of C and D. So C is negative 4, and d is negative 1. A negative times a negative is a positive, so we know our answer will be positive. Then 2 times 4 is 8, times 1 is 8. So positive 8. Here we have c squared, so we can plug in the value of c, which is negative 4, and then square it. Now, what's important to note is that a negative squared is a positive. In fact, a negative to an even power will always be positive. So negative 4 squared will be positive 16. Looking at 2.6, we have d cubed, and d of course is negative 1. So it's negative 1 cubed. Now, what's important to note is that a negative raised to an odd power will be negative. In this case, the power is 3, which is odd. So a negative cubed will give us a negative, and 1 cubed is 1. Here we have b minus d. So we can plug in the value of b, which is 3, then our minus. D is negative, so we're going to put it in brackets. So negative 1 in brackets. Now, remember that brackets mean multiplication. So a minus times a minus is a plus. And we'll get plus 1 here. So the answer then will be positive 4. Then we have c minus d. So c is negative 4 minus d, which is negative 1. And since we are subtracting a negative number, we're going to put it in brackets. Then brackets mean multiplication, so a minus times a minus is a plus. So plus 1. And negative 4 plus 1, of course, is negative 3. We can plug in the values of a, b, and c. So a is 2, b is 3, and then we have minus c. But since we are subtracting a negative, we're going to put it in brackets. So minus negative 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. Then, since brackets mean multiplication, we're going to multiply the negatives. A negative times a negative is a positive. And 4 plus 9 is 13, plus 4 is 17. Let's plug in the values of a, b, and c. So a is 2, b is 3, then plus c. And since c is negative, we're going to put it in brackets. So plus negative 4. So this is going to give us 6 minus 12. Since we have brackets, we're going to multiply these signs. So a plus times a minus is a minus. So it's negative 4. We can first add the negatives. Minus 12 or negative 12 minus 4 is negative 16. And of course 6 minus 16 is negative 10. We plug in the values of a, b, and c. So negative 2 times a plus 2 times b minus 3 times c. We have negative 2 times positive 2. A negative times a positive is a negative. So negative 4. Then plus 6. Then a negative times a negative is a positive. So 3 times 4 is 12. We can add the positives. So 6 plus 12 is 18. And negative 4 plus 18, of course, is positive 14. Let's plug in the values of a, b, and c. So a is 2, so it's 2 squared. B is 3, so 3 squared, plus c squared. C is negative, so we're going to put it in brackets. So negative 4 squared. So we have 4 plus 9 plus, remember a negative squared is a positive. So 4 squared is 16. So positive 16. So we can add these and we get 29. Let's plug in the values of a, b, and c. We know a is 2. Then inside the brackets we have 2 times b, and b is 3, minus 3 times c, and c is negative 4. So 3 times 2 is 6. Inside the brackets here, we'll get 6 over here. A negative times a negative is a positive, and 3 times 4 is 12. So inside the brackets we have 18, so 6 times 18, and this is 108. Let's plug in the values of a, b, and c. So c, of course, is negative 4. Then we have brackets and we have negative a, and a is 2. B, of course, is 3. We have a negative times a negative, which is a positive, and 2 times 4 is 8. Inside the brackets, we have 2 times 3, which is 6. Then negative 2 plus 6, of course, is positive 4. And the answer then is 32. It says find the value of 7x plus 3y when x is equal to 12 and y is equal to negative 6. So we simply put 12 in for x and negative 6 for y. So 7 times 12 is 84. A positive times a negative is a negative, and 3 times 6 is 18. So 84 minus 18 will give us 66. Y is equal to mx plus c. Find the value of y when m is equal to negative 3, x is equal to negative 2, and c is equal to negative 8. So let's plug in the values. So y equals, m is negative 3, x is negative 2, plus c, and c is negative 8. So a negative times a negative is a positive. So this will give us positive 6. A plus times a minus is a minus. So it's minus 8. And 6 minus 8, of course, is negative 2. Given that r equals 2p minus q, find the value of r when p is equal to 3 and q is equal to negative 5. So we can substitute in the values of p and q. So we have 2p, so 2 times 3. Then minus q. Now q is negative, so we're going to put it in brackets because we are subtracting here. 2 times 3 will give us 6. A negative times a negative is a positive. And the answer then will be 11.